Sponsored by Darley, Henry Plumtree, and of course a very good friend of the Chittick family, Garry Chittick, inducted into the Hall of Fame. Coming up on stage, Mary, Mark, Celia and Tanya, the children. Congratulations to you, Garry. Inducted in the Hall of Fame, following on the outstanding contribution to racing, all those breeding titles as well. It's been a massive ride, hasn't it?
It's been good fun, but first of all, I'd like to say congratulations to all the inductees that came up before me. I don't know if you've left the best or last. I don't think so after listening to Shane. You know, humility's not my strong point, but Shane's got me left for dead, to be honest. It has been. It's been a lot of fun, and we're very grateful to be in the business, you know. I mean, we started with very humble beginnings and, 4 or 5 mares and a horse called Super Grey. He wasn't the best. The lucky thing was Centane, of course, and all of the major studs that you see have had that bit of luck. If you get a horse like that you can capitalise on, and if you have the good luck that they work, then you've got to make the best of that opportunity. So I have at our table here all those that supported me. Te Parai were absolutely right behind me all the way. Gerald and Rex is not here. So to have that sort of support when you're buying stallions is imperative.
Let's go back to day one, though. The fact of the matter is you're a son of a market gardener. Where did the attraction to racing start?
Well, we, Alan, my cousin's here too, we were required to go to work every day after school from probably the age of 11. I'm not saying we were coolies or anything, but we actually enjoyed it. And we rode down on our bikes to wherever they were. They had little bits of land dotted all over Lower Hutt, and one piece in particular was a place called Gear Island. There's a school there now. And they had a plywood sort of hut. We would arrive about 3:30 after school, and honestly, we should have been playing sport, but they were boiling the billy, those old billies that you lit the fire and the thing went up through the middle and boiled them. And we used to have to sit there for hours on end and listen to racing, because it was rugby, racing and beer in those days. They weren't great drinkers. Rugby was of no great interest, but they were mad on racing. So we were taken to I was taken to Trentham, so was Alan and our cousins from the age of 10. You weren't allowed in the main enclosure until you were 12, but they dressed us up and we managed to get in there. My father aspired to be a member of the Wellington Racing Club. It took him 18 years on the waiting list. Now it would take 18 seconds. And when it fights, so we used to stand on the bank, and I remember seeing Donald Dinny win the Telegraph and Golden Galleon, I think it was, won the Wellington Cup of that particular year. So it started way back then. My older cousin, Robert, who's no longer with us, his bedroom wall was covered with the photos of the hoofbeats, the middle photos. They were wonderful shots of racing horses, so that's where it all started.
In the farm you had in Wairarapa, you said you started off with Super Grey. Before that, though, before they had the stallions, you had 1 or 2 mares?
No, well, I sort of had I had a little sheep farm down south of Martinborough, and I wasn't going to go too far there. I moved to Marston with aspirations to sort of sell land and trade up, and to be honest, the Labor government of 1972-75 did me a very good turn, because they introduced the property speculation tax. People here wouldn't realise, but the tax was based on 90 cents on the dollar for every year you owned the property, reducible by 10% per annum. So I'd owned it 1 year and somebody came along to buy it off me and I couldn't sell it. I was stuck with it because I was going to get no money. So rather than do that, I had a small piece of land, 160 acres. I thought, well, I'll try my hand in the horse business. Ollie Goodwin, a good friend of mine, he bought Wharf a year before. And I recall him saying to one of my mates, I don't know what he's doing. He knows nothing about it. He was right, but he had only had the horse 1 year before, so he knew very little more, to be honest.
From the Marston region, you went up to Palmerston North as well. How long did you stay there?
Well, go back to Marston. We decided in Marston, that was the Williams boys and Ollie and ourselves, that the competition up north was getting very strong, and we would syndicate horses as a group. So the first horse we did as a group was Sound Reason. He stood at Riddlesworth. And then I moved to Marston, and we did Chittick and Centane as a group, and those sort of people stuck to us all the way through. I went to, when did we go to Marston, Mary? Anyway, to Palmerston, I mean. Anyway, we had about 10 or 12 years in Palmerston, and the dairy company at the time wanted to buy our property, and So we were fortunate enough to get Waikato Stud Going Concern. So we got all their rats and mice and stallions and bits and pieces, and it was an enormous move. It was like Steptoe, you know. We moved 80-odd horses up. We had trucks with, I remember finding the trucks with all this farm gear hanging over the side. It was, you know, it was terrible, really. It's a big job to move, but anyway, we've moved, and as you said, we've been there 22 or 23 years now, and had a wonderful time. Obviously, quite clearly, O'Reilly was an amazing help for us along the way, and you know, to be lucky enough to have Savabeel to follow him, we are very fortunate.
It's been fantastic. It's a beautiful ride and a beautiful story, and the family carries on too, and Mark's doing an outstanding job, and gee whiz, he could be the best yet.
Mark?
Yeah. He could be the best yet with Savabeel.
Well, I mean, you know, if you look at the genetics, Mark's every chance. Mark's every chance.
The family shaker, they still believe you're the best. Maybe he is the best. Ladies and gentlemen, inducted to the Hall of Fame and deserving so too, Garry Chittick.